Morning, Declan. How are you?
Hi, Peter. Not too bad. How are things for yourself?
Yes, all good here. Thank you. All good. Welcome to the NI Business Podcast. Declan, thanks very much for taking the time to chat with me on this nice, bright, sunny Monday morning. Could we start? Could you tell me a little about yourself, your background, and your business, please?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah. And thanks very much for having us on, Peter. Really appreciate that. And yeah, lovely and sunny. We don't really get it here that much in Northern Ireland, so we take it when we can. Yeah, I'm Declan. I'm a medical doctor by background. I worked clinically in the NHS for about 5 years, mostly in emergency medicine. And I'm also a software engineer as well. So both of those things eventually combined, and I couldn't really resist the urge to build something in the healthcare space to make our lives a bit easier. So essentially, we built Eolas Medical. So myself and my colleagues, we found it very difficult accessing medical knowledge at the point of care. So when we were treating patients, what is the next step? How should we treat this patient with, second line chemotherapy for their cancer, or if they have a head injury or whatever it may be? And specifically, how do we do that in this hospital that we're working in? So we found it very hard to access that content. So we launched Eolas. So Eolas is the Irish word for knowledge or information, and that helps streamline access to all of the content that a healthcare professional needs when they're treating patients. Launched that about 3 years ago. It's live now in over 500 sites across the world, over 300,000 users, and about 80% of all hospitals in the NHS use it as well. So that's a very quick whistle stop tour to who we are and what we do.
So help me understand. Before Olus, so if Olus wasn't there, where did you get that sort of information from?
Yeah, so broadly speaking, there are two different sources where you need to get access to knowledge when you're treating patients. One is either internal, so all of your internal hospital policies, guidelines, standard operating procedures, and the other one is external, so the national level guidelines from trusted bodies like NICE or other research articles essentially. So for the external stuff, a lot of the time doctors would go to Google or other platforms. For the internal stuff, it's usually on an outdated intranet system on the hospital, and that's usually very hard to find what you need when you need it. So you're talking maybe 15 minutes just to find the document that you need. So what we have done is aggregated both of those sources essentially all into one place, and then it's all wrapped with an AI engine as well, so the doctor can ask a natural language question and then get an answer within seconds from all of those trusted sources.
Whenever you were studying to be a doctor, did you ever envisage that this would be the path you'd go down?
No, not at all. No. Yeah, so I studied here in Queens, and then graduated 2015. As I said, worked clinically for about 5 years. It was really only into the kind of third, fourth year where I was working clinically, where I started software engineering again, started coding. Just there was a lot of potential for what software could do in healthcare, and I started getting into that a lot more. At that time, I very much envisaged myself, 40-year career, wanted to do emergency medicine and maybe dual specialty with other specialties. But I really fell in love with the coding aspect and the potential that software had to kind of reshape how we deliver healthcare. So it was a bit of a pull towards that, really.
And so from a target market perspective, who benefits most from working with Olus, and who do you enjoy working with?
Yeah, so from our point of view, there's 50 million healthcare professionals globally who find it difficult to access content when they need it. And that's ultimately what our target is, to make their lives a bit easier so that they are able to make the best decisions for every patient every time. And that's really what we want to try to do. The platform itself can be used completely for free by individual healthcare professionals globally, so they can download it and use it immediately. So that's one target. The other target is hospital systems themselves and primary care institutions as well. They can upload all of their internal institutional content. The system will index it, and then they can give access to their team members via that. So that's really how we see the market.
And whenever you transition from medical to business, how did you cope with that transition?
Yeah, very much stumbled my way through it. I think is probably the probably most accurate description. I got very lucky, I think. So, Invest in I run a program, and they're running. It's now called Founder Labs. Back 3 or 4 years ago, it was Ignite Propel program. So essentially, they set you up with a small grant, and then they set you up with a lot of mentorship, which is the most important thing. coming out of, doing your medical degree, working in the NHS for 5 years, you don't really get to exercise any commercial bones at all, and it takes a while to develop that kind of sense up as well. I got very lucky that I got very, very good mentors from that program, and it really set us off on a good path from the start.
Yeah, I've got a few clients who are from a doctor stroke medical background, so I was really intrigued about that because I can completely relate to exactly what you've said there. So let's think about your sort of as a business owner with your business owner head, and what would you say has been your biggest lesson since being a business owner?
Yeah, the biggest lesson. I suppose it's not a lesson that I came up with, but it's one that I've definitely internalized. And I think Bill Gates actually said it originally. It's, most people um overestimate what they're able to do in a year, but underestimate what they're able to do in 10 years. And I think hard things take time, and they also take buy-in from other people who want to come along in that journey as well. And you want things to move faster, but if things worth doing, it's worth doing the right way. So after kind of 3 or 4 years of building this, we're now really realizing that we've established a very good footprint, and I think we can see forward what 10 years looks like in this space, and we're quite excited about that. But I suppose it takes a mind shift to kind of realize that that's the I suppose the speed healthcare moves at, but also that it moves at that speed for a good reason as well.
And what have you learned about yourself along the way?
Where do we start? I think we've only half an hour here, Peter. Yeah, I suppose like um I've learned that that I want to spend my time doing things that have a meaningful impact. And when they don't have a meaningful impact, it gets quite frustrating. And I think that's the main thing that drives me, and that's something that I've discovered over the last kind of 2 or 3 years, really.
And what you mentioned around mentorship, etc. Who would you say has influenced you the most along the way?
Yeah, but there's been a number of people, and across a number of different verticals. Some that are specifically within the healthcare vertical, some within the business side of things. And I suppose to kind of name one might feel like doing a disservice to everyone. If it was just kind of labeling one, and the reason why is because that Invest in I program I felt was so pivotal. One person would be Ian Brown, who helps run the Founder Lab side of things, and he helped run Ignite at that stage. And he has just been there as a constant really over the last 3 to 4 years, and has seen Eolas grow from nothing and an idea to where it is now, and continues to help us. So I think his mentorship and I suppose patience as well, was really important.
Yeah, from patience to patience. No, I'm not going to make that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And now, as we sit here, right slap bang, right in the middle of 2025, what is it that drives your passion for business and gets you out of bed in the morning?
Yeah, I suppose it's back to that idea of impact and how technology can have a significant impact on healthcare. I think now we're entering the exponential age where AI is going to revolutionize every industry, and there's no industry that needs it more than healthcare. Essentially, doctors, there's never going to be enough doctors or nurses or pharmacists or any healthcare professionals. That doesn't scale now. We've reached the breaking point, and for appropriate clinical decisions to be made for every patient across the world, we need to leverage these technologies, and that's really exciting to be at that point in time. And there's multiple solutions that need to come to market and that have already come to market across radiology right down to decision support and voice technologies. And as these all stack on top of each other, it's really exciting to see the trajectory that healthcare is really able to go towards now, and just being able to play a part in that is kind of gets us out of bed every morning.
And if you were in the unlikely event that you were on a desert island and that you could choose a book or a podcast or both to read or listen to, what would you go for?
Yeah, so there's a business podcast called the All In Podcast. And while I probably disagree with their political opinions on a lot of it, they do come with a very astute macro level observations about the state of technology and the state of business at the minute. And that's probably the most consistent podcast that I listen to. I listen to a lot of other healthcare podcasts, and there's a health tech podcast it's called. It's very, very good. But that's probably the one that's most consistent, as much as it pains me to admit it.
Very good. And what would you say is the biggest challenge that you're currently facing in your business?
I suppose it's back to that 1 year, 10 year thing. I think we want things to move as fast. We want to move as fast as we possibly can. And there's a lot of opportunity to do a lot of different things. But we're still a small team and we have to do those things in a temporal sequence. And I think that's the thing that a lot of founders I think struggle with that as well. They want to do everything all at once. But you have to build your business in a sensible and sustainable way as well as move fast. So it's getting those two things balanced, I think, is the thing I find the most difficult.
And let's go a little bit off pace. So if you could invite any three people to a dinner party, who are you going to invite?
Now you're talking. So this is a question maybe we throw around. I haven't been asked it in a while, but one that I always consistently would say is Stephen Fry for one, because I think
Okay.
he's a great conversationalist and his breadth of knowledge across lots of areas would be great. I've always just been intrigued. I've always been intrigued by this idea of just raw horsepower intelligence. So, Albert Einstein is obviously hailed as one of the most intelligent people that's ever lived. So it would just be really interesting to meet and just have a conversation and see how he thinks about the world. And then lastly, from a history point of view, someone probably like Marcus Aurelius or Julius Caesar or something like that, just to see how mindsets have changed or have they changed over time. And I think I would like just sit and listen, and Stephen Fry could be the moderator, and just sit and listen to that
Yes.
conversation. I'd say it'd be a bit mad the stuff they'd be talking about.
Very good. What an eclectic dinner party that would be. Yeah. And what about if you could go back in time, say you could go back in time and give some advice to your 18-year-old self, Declan, what would that sound like?
Yeah. Probably say don't take things too serious. Life's for living, I think that's the thing again we struggle with is getting this balance between getting up in the morning, trying to achieve something, trying to be ambitious, but
Mm.
also, you do have to enjoy your life as well, and trying to balance those two attitudes sometimes can be difficult, but yeah, don't take things too seriously, I think would be the advice.
Yeah, that's good advice. Good advice. I like that one. And what about let's look forward? You mentioned earlier on around Olas in 10 years' time. So down the line, what does Olas look like then?
Yeah, so we would want 50 million healthcare professionals globally on the platform. And we see a world where every single medical decision that's ever made is informed by the world's medical knowledge in real time. And we want to play a significant part in that essentially. So we want to integrate our system into every single point of care system so that patients are getting very informed decisions. And that's the vision that we want to strive for.
Superb. And if someone likes what they've heard or would like to reach out to you or to the business and get in touch, what's the best way for them to go about that?
Yeah, so they can reach out to our main email. So it's hello@olusmedical.com. So EOLAS medical.com.
Superb. Well, Declan Kelly from Eolas, thanks very much for taking the time to chat with me this morning. Thanks for sharing your story. Fascinating. I mean, there's so many amazing businesses in Northern Ireland, and it's a real privilege from my point of view to get to speak to so many of them. And you are one of those, my friend. So listen, thanks very much for your time. I wish you every success for the second half of 2025 and beyond. So, Declan, thanks very much indeed.
Amazing. Cheers, Peter. Really appreciate that. Lovely chatting. All the best.